Lloyd Dittmer, Kitchener, Ontario.
What's this truck?
1988 Mack Superliner.
And what's the engine, transmission, all that good stuff?
It's 300 Mack, the low RPM, high torque. Its original single axle was a Florida truck all its life until I bought it. I've probably had this since 16, I believe. It was on a steel company in Florida. It had a 5-speed transmission, which it now has a 9-speed Mack in it.
Did you do that?
Yes, and it had multi-leaf suspension, which I took out and put Airliner Air Ride off of an 05 with a 390 ratio in the back, because we pull a fifth wheel trailer back and forth to Florida in the winter time.
With this?
We did for a few years with this. The gear ratio was just not quite right with the 5-speed there. So it works great the way it is for what it's doing.
Did you find it while you were in Florida?
I did. It was sitting there. I looked at it 1 year down there. It was for sale, but I didn't like the price. I come back the next year and I eventually bought it and drove it back up to Canada. The reason being, up here, it's hard to find trucks with good frames, and when they've been working in the salt all their life, this hasn't. Frame is underneath the cab. Everything is no rust, just super clean.
Did you paint it, or did it come nicely painted?
I did. It was red, like most of them were. I painted this to match the Bighorn RV trailer that we pulled with it.
Can we take a look inside?
You can.
Since the sun is shining so nicely over here.
A little bit messy in there,
right.
but new seats. Interior, I had to do made up new panels between me and the missus there, and because the windows were shot out of it when it was sitting in Florida and the rain was getting in then.
But the body was okay?
Oh yeah, it hadn't been sitting long. No, the body was a pleasure to work on, because no rust anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Were you a truck driver?
Yeah, 40-some years, yeah.
And was there a Mack in your past that made you want a new one?
Yeah, I had an 84 Mack brand new that I ran across the U.S. and all around the country with, hauling machinery. And then the last one I had was a CH Mack, a 1990. I bought that new and ran it for 16 years.
Were you an owner-operator?
Yeah, since about 1982 or 3, I guess it was. Before that, I hauled steel for a steel company out of Kitchener.
And then you ended up with a truck that used to haul steel. It's like it was meant to be.
Well, I guess.
Right?
I guess, yeah.
How you doing?
Not too bad.
Beautiful truck.
Thank you. Actually, it's going to be for sale.
What, that one over there?
This one.
That one over there?
No, that one I'm keeping. That one I had before this one.
Sorry.
I don't have room for them all anymore.
How many do you have?
Well, I just have these two now, and pickup trucks.
Well, should we just continue and move on to this
one? You can. This was a local truck on the McKinnon Transport out of Guelph. Probably old Bill bought that truck new.
A 64.
It's a 64 B61. The original engine was a 711 naturally aspirated, and I took that out, and I had got a motor from Florida, a 250 Mack engine with a turbo, and I put that in. It's got the original 2-stick triplex transmission, a 5 and a 3.
Did you ever work a truck that had more than one transmission?
Yeah, it was a B model Mack too.
Aha!
That was a Mack thing years ago. So yeah, that one went back and forth to Florida at least 6 years, pulling the trailer down to Florida in the winter time.
They're all very interwoven. You going to Florida truck from here.
Well,
Steel.
yeah, and then you can go to truck shows down there in the winter time. So it worked out quite well. And the old B model, it's kind of a truck that catches people's eyes when you park somewhere, and when you come out, you got to talk to somebody, and
Sorry.
that's the way it is with the old trucks. They notice them.
And it's a pretty color. Did you pick this color?
It's different. It's not, it was red and black too. Black fenders, red cab. I kind of come up with that green myself, and it's not a MAC color, so, but it seems to work.
It's pretty. Do you know what it's called, or did you make it? Like, did you have it mixed?
It's got a number. I picked it out of a whole batch of samples there, and it's a number. Didn't really have a name for the color.
This one looks like it probably rides pretty well, despite being really short.
Yeah, this had a multi-leaf suspension too, and it had an air tag on the back. And I took the air tag off because running around the country, pulling the trailer, you don't need it. And I put air ride suspension on the back of this one too, because these they don't have an airbag under the cab. They're a pretty solid ride.
How much work would you say you have into these two trucks from when you got them to now?
Oh goodness,
a lot. Or
yeah, there's a lot. This one I had the cab right off of it. Had to do a lot of work on the cab because it was in the salt all the time.
It's beautiful. How long ago was it painted, roughly?
Oh, that'd be at least 11, 12 years ago now.
I assume they both live inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah. They were pretty much all the same, them old Beam models.
I like the green interiors of them too.
Well, that's the original green that they were inside. Pretty much all of them came with that color.
Do you have a preference for one over the... Well, I assume if the tan one is potentially going away, this one is your...
Well, this one, these are kind of unique. Yeah, I'll keep this one. We get older every year, and
it happens.
The other one, yeah, it'll be for sale because I don't have that trailer anymore. We have a different trailer, much the same color, but back in the day, these were just old work trucks. A lot of work went into them over the years because you got to put all new gauges, and redo stuff inside, and paint the whole inside.
Did you repaint the interior?
I did.
But yes. The same color, the original color?
Original color, yeah, yeah. Just the outside color isn't original.
And it shuts itself nicely.
Yeah. Well, there's no plastic there. Front bumper I got made for it because the original one was a channel steel and all bent. Front fender was bent up. They were a work truck, so you had to fix all that stuff.
We've been talking about transmissions and shifting, and I told you that I have never double clutched once in my life, and you were talking about the B model behind you.
The B model Mac, yes. That's what you would have to double clutch more so than the newer stuff because of the gearing. No synchro mesh. It's straight cut gears, and you have to be close for that to go into gear. Double clutching, that's the way it was years ago in all the old stuff. And the new generation stuff, and now the automatic, no, you just put that in gear.
And then you were also saying how if you were like hauling a load down a hill or something, it would react differently?
All shifting is different with the load and the road terrain. Like you may not use the clutch sometimes, and there are times where you're going to use the clutch because of the situation and whether you're going downhill or uphill, or yeah, there's times you have to. You learn over the years how the equipment works if you know anything about the ratios and the sound and picking up gears, and yeah, that's something you learn as you're doing it for years. Teaching that, I don't know. I've never went to their school, so teaching it, that'd be. They probably don't do that double clutch thing anymore.
You have to double clutch
you
in the
have
States
to.
to get a license, although
Okay.
the truck I drove was a 6-speed synchronized transmission, so you don't double clutch that. You drive it like a car.
Yeah.
And that's specifically why I went to the place I went to take my test.
Just something we learned years ago when we started driving, and you never forget it. You just it's kind of automatic. You do it. Like,
now, how about going between the two different trucks?
Even if I use the clutch in the Superliner, I'm so used to double clutching, I do it in it. It works better.
But again, it's the operator. It's, yeah, and what you're used to.
That's right. Yeah, equipment changes over the years. They make stuff easier, and yeah. But the old stuff, that's old school, and yeah.
What exactly does straight cut mean in?
Well, no synchros in the gears, and I'm not a mechanic, but the way the gears are made, they're not like the newer style transmissions, like when they mesh together.
And they're more demanding.
Yeah, they're more demanding.
When it comes to shifting a triplex, and you have all these things going on at once, if you miss a gear, you were telling me how to fix that.
Well,
one way to fix that.
Yes, if you're going fast enough yet, that when you missed, it's pretty hard when both sticks get in neutral to get one back in gear. But you can shut the engine off, and it will stop turning in the clutch area, and you can pick up by the speed you're going the main stick. If you get the main stick in, most of the time you can, then you can fire it up, and you can pick up the auxiliary
while you're rolling.
But you have to learn that stuff. Like, that's something that they don't teach.
I am a teacher. I teach an instrument, but still, I know that sometimes you have to explain things many ways before someone understands. Shifting is something that I think would take a while for me to find a way to help someone else understand how to do it.
And you'll get people that'll dispute what you're saying because they don't believe that, or they don't think it's possible. But yeah, that'll happen with anything. Some will say they see that Mack there with 2 sticks in it there, and you tell them that's a triplex transmission, and they're going to say, no, that's a duplex because it don't have 3 sticks. Well, that's a Mack thing. That's a Mack transmission. It's all, there's not an auxiliary box on the back. It's an auxiliary is on the back of the transmission, but it's all one transmission. You have 2 sticks. One shifts the auxiliary, the other one shifts the main box.
Is it a 5 and a 4?
5 and a 3.
5 and a 3.
That's where the triplex is. The 3. They had a duplex, 5 and a 2. Then they had a quadruplex, 5 and a 4.
It all makes sense now.
There you go.
I'm learning something.
Okay.
And I hope the people watching do too.
Well, I hope so, yeah.